What's going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to another 37 Goes video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about spirituality, awareness, consciousness. Brother, I've recorded this video so many times throughout the past years, and every time my mic would cut out. And I don't know if that's divine, I don't know, but this is what we're going to talk about. This is going to be the final video. I'm so done talking about this topic. But I want to revive this YouTube channel and just go from there. So I'm just going to wing it. I don't even have a script. I'm just going to talk. Let's get straight into it. So I think religion is cope. And sometimes cope is not bad. Because I think in this world, you definitely need copes to survive it, because none of this shit makes sense, right? So I want to rewind. Let's rewind. When I was a kid, I'm talking like 9, 10, I always wanted to believe in Christ, like, heavily, right? Both of my parents are like not mega Christians, but like, especially like on my mom's side of things, like very hardcore, like believing Jesus or like you're going to hell type shit. And I always thought, like, even when I was 10, like, there is no, if heaven and hell are real, there is no way my black ass is getting into heaven, bro. Like, there's just no way. Like, and what could a 10-year-old do to even have that mind, you know? Like, throw a dodgeball at a girl's head, like, I don't even understand how that got imprinted into my cognition, but it did. I remember telling my hamster at the time, like, kissing it on its head and like saying like, oh, like, you're so lucky, you're gonna get into heaven. People like me are just not loved. I don't deserve to go to heaven. And that's something that really needs to be looked at. Because it's like, why is a 10-year-old talking like that? Because I was always treated well as a kid, treated like an absolute king. Like, I wasn't like, I don't have like emotional issues, like abandonment issues or shit like that. Like, where I think that like I have a dysfunctional attachment style or like love style. Like, I grew up pretty normal, or maybe I'm just not aware of it. But this is why I'm trying to talk about it, I guess. But I really wanted to believe in Jesus, and I really did for the first 19 years of my life. I became agnostic when I changed to a different version of myself. So in this YouTube channel, I talk about the 1.0, the 2.0, the 3.0, the 4.0, which I have to do videos on. I pretty much, to keep it short, though, that's really like my philosophy. I call it like the ghost philosophy. Just because every time life pushes you in the corner, you must become like a better, stronger version of yourself. Just like in anime, like Goku fighting Frieza, like when Frieza kills Krillin, like, you can't not go Super Saiyan, right? And like, I do that in the human real life equivalent, where it's like, if I'm getting rejected by a bunch of women, and if I'm getting shitted on at work, if I can't afford anything, if I'm not posting on this YouTube channel, whatever, if life isn't like where I want it to get to, I must enhance. And people nowadays call this shit looks maxing, or just maxing in general, which I think life is a game, so I love that concept. So literally just becoming a better version. And I became a different version before when I was in high school, but I knew I needed more. This is a whole different topic, right? And trust me, I'll make a video on all of that too, right? But I needed to create another version at 19 because I felt like I couldn't afford anything. Life was shit. And I questioned everything. Like, I questioned my religion. I questioned my politics before. Like, age 19 and before, I was such a mega liberal, like BLM, marching down the streets, all that shit. I was on that shit, right? Mega Christian, just blue pilled when it came to women. blue pilled when it comes to the work environment. Like, yeah, I'm gonna stay at this company for years, and I'm gonna buy a house and get a car and get a Nissan GTR somehow, some way. Work making $18 an hour at Amazon, right? Like it did even make sense, but that was my reality, and that's when COVID hit too. So it was just like a time for a new, right? Because I felt like the women that I was getting were just quantity but not quality. I'm diverging from the topic, right? So when I questioned reality, I questioned my religion. That was one of the bigger ones, and I realized that like a lot of this shit is cope. When I hear an all powerful, all knowing God, all knowing God, right? That gave you free will. That shit doesn't make any sense. That shit like cancels each other out. It's a paradox, right? Because if he's all knowing, right, then he knows that you're not going to believe in him. So he sends you to hell for not believing in him. It's not a God that I want to be a fan of or be part of, like, at all, right? You have the all good, all loving God, right? But you see all this fuck shit happening in life, right? How many people have you seen genocided? Especially Christians that like believe in Christ. I mean, the first country that believed in Christ had a genocide of 1 million people by Muslims. Like that's like, so you would think like, how does God pay back a belief system by shitting on it, right? That's like, when I see that, it's just like, yo, what the fuck? That's like, that's cope, bro. And like when you tell these people this, they'll say, well, God works in mysterious ways we don't know. So it's like, it's a religion, and I'm mostly talking about Christianity, but a lot of the Abrahamic religions are very similar. They say we don't know how God works, and God works in mysterious ways, and they shit on you for not wanting to believe in that. So if you believe in it, if you don't believe in it, you're wrong, you're misguided, you're going to hell, whatever. You'll find your way. I hope you find your way. And when you point this shit out, they'll say we have absolutely no idea. And that's incredibly frustrating to the point where it's like, it's almost like a Ponzi scheme. Like I see this shit and it's just like, if any business were to run like that, like it would fall apart pretty quickly. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to ancient stories, and this is, I watch a lot of history. I'm no expert. I feel like the more I know, the more I don't. I was listening to like this YouTube channel called History with Kai. I really like it, even though it's like simplistic, about like ancient Egyptians and ancient Greece. And when I hear those stories, a lot of those stories are so dramatized, where it's like, it would just be a battle, like a simple battle between like the Egyptians and the Nubians, or like the Greeks versus the Persians or whatever, right? And that would be 2,000, 3,000 years ago. And if you listen to how these motherfuckers talk, like they would just like, we parted the seas as 2 million Persian warriors came back and did this and that. It's like, dude, all you did was beat the nigga ass. Like, you do not have to talk like this, right? And that's what I realized when it comes to ancient history, is like their words, they make this shit seem like all grandiose when it's like, it's really just like a bunch of fucking knuckleheads, virgin knuckleheads fighting, bro. It's funny. And like, I feel like stuff like the Bible is the same shit. Like, Moses parted the seas, and there's historical evidence that we got two mammals from every species, 6,000 years, and like, dude, it's like, how much shit, dude, like, that shit is like almost, I don't want to say it's stupid. I don't want to say it's retarded, but goddamn, that shit sounds like stupid as fuck. And like, it's cope though, because it has to be true to a certain degree, because if it's not true, and this is like what I call emergent versus fundamental, if life is emergent, and this is just random, then there is no meaning to this existence. You kind of have to make your meaning, right? But I mention the ancient stories because we still write good stories. I mean, if you guys watch anime, if you guys have read like Naruto, from the first chapter to the last chapter of Naruto, from at the whole thing of Naruto, I'm not talking about that ripoff with his son. That shit was trash. But just Naruto front and back. You could literally make a religion off of Naruto. Like, think about it. An alien comes from space, gives everybody chi or kai or whatever the fuck, gives humans unique powers, chakra, and now every family has a Kekkei Genkai, or like a superpower that was given by this ancient being that was sealed into the moon, and now like people have shit in their eyes called the Sharingan, Rinnegan, and like there was somebody who came back who was the vision of God, and he had the Rinnegan. Like, bro, all that shit, read that shit front to back and tell me if you replace like Christianity with like Naruto, how that shit fits. And I know they probably took inspiration through religion, like the people that made Naruto, but genuinely, and I think that's realistic for everything. I mean, the Abrahamic religions take off of other things, right? That were whatever was in the land before. And I think the biggest cope is like, if you're trapped in a shitty reality, it would be lovely to keep going, because the power of your mind that's something that needs to be studied, right? But the power of your mind is very incredible, where it's like, if you believe there's a God out there that will forgive you for whatever you've done, and loves you no matter what. Like, if you're in like the trench on a battleground, like, you need that shit, right? So that's why I say it's not bad. I wish I could believe in it. It's just like, when you really think about it, like, I forgot who said this. It was on a podcast recently that I was listening to. I know his last name was like Weinstein or some shit like that. I forgot it, right? But he said like, religion is metaphorically true, not actually true, which, like, that makes so much sense, where it's like, if you live by Christ, if you live by these other religions, right? You could see real progress in your life. Does that mean the religion is true? Maybe not so, but like the fact that it's bettering you in life, you could argue, oh, then it has some truth to it, which I'm not knocking. But that might not be the actual power of Jesus going through you. It could just be the belief that you're walking in, right? And I really want to talk about fundamentalism and emergence. So what is fundamental in emergence? So fundamentalism is claiming that something like awareness and consciousness are fundamental to the universe's existence, just like the laws of physics. Just like you can't break the speed of light, you can't do this, you can't do that when it comes to certain things in the universe. Awareness, consciousness must arise, or no, it's something that it must arise, and that if it's fundamental to the universe, and that means that the universe itself was created by something that was that's cognizant, right? You have to understand, cognition and awareness, especially the human awareness, is something that is so profoundly complex that arguably living things like us, consciousness in general, but especially consciousness in a human sense, is absolutely so complex. It might be the most complex thing, consciousness, in the universe, whether it's emergent or fundamental, because you have to understand, it's a thing experiencing a thing. Like, we literally call ourselves living things. We are no different from an object, right? But for some reason, we can manipulate the space around us and communicate. There is nothing in the universe, I don't care how big it is, the black holes, galaxies, stars, planets, that communicate, that move, that know their destiny, that are aware of their cognition. That is absurdly complex. And we're all a collective of atoms. And for some reason, those atoms coalesce into awareness. That is all craziness. And it makes you think there's no need for it. There is no need in the universe. If you look at the universe, wipe all life that we know. All we know is Earth right now, but wipe all life in the universe. You mean to tell me, right? There is nothing that's going to change when it comes to the universe. Earth is still going to spin around the sun until that evaporates in 4 billion years or whatever, or a billion years, right? The sun becomes a white dwarf. We're going to continue orbiting the galaxy until we crash into Andromeda. We're going to keep, the stars are still going to be out there until the universe expands. Nothing changes. It makes you think, why the hell was cognition even in the... There's no need for it. There's no need for cognition in the universe at all, if you really think about it. But for some reason, it's here. And that makes you think if it's fundamental or not. Or it could be emergent, right? Now, what does emergent mean? So emergent means that all this consciousness is when things start to get to a certain complexity, they become emergent. I have a question for you. And this will kind of open your eyes to this shit that I'm talking about, right? Do you believe that robots or AI, if we were to imprint, like copy and paste, like a human brain, the cognition of a human brain, and put it into an AI, we 3D printed this brain, whatever, and we put it into a human-like AI, and when you would punch it, it had nerves, so when you punch it, it feels, it pushes back. It'll say, why the hell did you do that? It feels pain. It feels emotion. It can cry. It can laugh, right? If you take that AI, right? If you had to answer this question, do you think that robot has the same awareness? Do you think that robot is aware? Do you think that robot doesn't want to die just like you don't want to die, right? Do you think that robot has true awareness just like you, just like any animal, just like any insect or whatever? Or do you think it's just reacting based off of the program? Because either way, it's going to look exactly the same. It can literally have nothing going on up in its head, but is just reacting because it knows how the human brain reacts. So it touches something hot, it peels away. But does it actually feel the actual heat of the object that it touched and actually felt that, ow? You know what I'm saying? If you say yes, especially if you're if you believe in God or whatever, then I would argue that you don't truly, and I don't want to come off as a jackass, but I don't think that's true belief in religion. How the fuck does that correlate, right? So if you believe that AI has true awareness, true consciousness, I believe that you think that life is emergent. If you think that robot does not have awareness and that it's just acting as if it has it, then I believe that you have the fundamental belief in it. So what the fuck, how does it correlate, right? Because complexity, we were able to map out the human brain and put it into an AI by just the complexity of our technology. Consciousness emerged. Same with nature. It took billions of years, but everything is artificial intelligence, even humans, because it was literally artificially. Earth did not always have life on it. It came from another source, and then you had the cells and all the germs and all that shit, and then it coalesced into cognition, and then cognition turned into human, and we have that, right? Just when with how big the universe is, you would think that just because of how complex everything is, that something like cognition would emerge. Does that have to have meaning to it, though? Absolutely not. So if it's emergent, then none of this shit matters. Total nihilism. None of this shit matters. Because, and people would cope and say, like, hey, you're literally, like, and this used to be my line when I was 19. This is why I believed in God, and because I'm agnostic right now, right? Is the fact that I go outside, when I drive my car, right? I see 45 miles per hour as soon as I peel out. I don't think that, hey, that sign was there for all of eternity and it's just the absolute, right? Somebody placed that there, right? So I thought the same with the universe. That the universe came into existence because something, aka God, said, let there be light, and that created the universe. There's a meaning to everything. But this is where we have an issue, is the fact that everything within the universe has to follow the universal laws. Everything outside of the universe, or the universe itself, does not have to follow that law. The perfect example for that is the speed of light. The speed of light is something that you can't go faster than. We as of right now, we do not know. We don't think it's a possibility to go faster. But the stars, every star is expanding at a rate much faster than light speed. Much faster, right? So the universe was made 13.7, I believe, 13.9, some shit like that, billion years ago. So the universe should be 13.9 or whatever billion light years. And I might be butchering how old that shit is, but the universe should be the same. It should be 13.9 billion light years if light expanded, because the universe is expanding at the same rate. But it's not. It's 9. We have stars in our observable universe that are 90 billion light years away. And that's just our observable universe. There could be stars that are trillions of light years away. Like, we don't know how far it is. It's just the light that has reached us. That's what we can see, right? That breaks the laws of physics if you're talking about going within the universe, traveling that fast in the universe. But the outside of the universe can do whatever the fuck it wants to. And that makes you think anything outside, or the universe itself, does not have to follow the laws of what's in the universe. So did the universe have to be created? Absolutely not. Did the universe have to have intention? Absolutely not. It could just be brute fact that the universe just started. And that makes the human brain uncomfortable because there has to be a why. And the thing that I love about humans is they always try to find a why. And it gets to a certain point where scientists have absolutely no idea. They just know the how. They know how black holes work. But once you start asking too many whys, it always turns into religion. So why is the Earth this big? Well, the mass of the stars of the early sun coalesced into the Earth. But why did that happen? Well, because there was a solar nova from the past star. Okay, but why did that happen? Well, because the universe started and it was heated. But why did that happen? Why did that happen? Why did that happen? Why did that happen? Why did that happen, God? Seriously. Because if you think about why does, when I jump up, I have to jump down? Well, E equals MC squared. But why? It always turns into God. Because if God didn't exist, we don't fucking know. We don't know. And it could just be brute fact that the universe comes into existence and will never cease to exist and just continue to expand. Because if you guys don't know astronomy, what's likely to take place is the heat death of the universe. So what does that mean? Is that the universe is just going to keep expanding at a rate where nothing can ever happen again. And it's just going to keep doing that. Where we're in the beautiful phase of the universe where we can see everything, we can see stars, galaxies, all that. There's going to be a point where we can only see our supercluster, where we can only see the nearby galaxies. Then in trillions of years, whatever, we're only going to see our galaxy. Then in trillions of years or whatever, we're only going to see our local star group. And in trillions of years or whatever, we're only going to see our star. And then in trillion years or whatever, we're not going to be able to see everything because everything has expanded to a certain degree that we can't even see the next star next to us because it's outside of the observable universe. And we're talking about such stupid numbers that everything, all of the photons that make up the universe, everything is going to collapse because those literal atoms are being split apart. So like nothing could actually be produced. All matter will cease to exist and the universe will just be an empty void that is so unbelievably enormous that for some odd reason continues to expand faster and faster. In all life, to a certain degree, will cease to exist completely. But then you have what's called a Boltzmann brain. This is a trippy thing where it's like the universe is so big and infinite that in one point of time, just because of the complexity of the universe, that there could be a random flare-up in awareness for absolutely no reason. Where you could have something called, they call it a Boltzmann brain. It's something where awareness peaks into reality for a split second in the universe just because of the whatever makes consciousness, the atoms that make consciousness, just because of, even this is such an unbelievably low possibility that this is going to happen, because the universe is so unbelievably large, it's almost guaranteed to happen because of the complexity. So once that complexity hits, awareness will pop into existence for a split second. It could be even longer and cease to exist for all of eternity. So that makes you think, if a Boltzmann brain is true, then there will always be something alive in the universe, even if there is nothing, there's no photons, there's nothing else, no planets, no stars, no nothing. There will always be a ghost of awareness just peeking into existence for an infinite amount of time, just like the universe. Fascinating shit. But when it comes to emergence, complexity, that's the biggest thing, where none of this shit has to make sense. And this is what science proves, because they measure the cognition. Your brain is what creates consciousness, right? And if we've proven that if we alter the brain, we alter consciousness. And when you die, that awareness that we can measure ceases to exist. And that leads us to believing that emergence is the truth, because when you think of a fire, right? When you put out a fire, you don't think that fire is in another room somewhere. You see that the tools that made the fire are still here, right? But the chemical reaction that created the fire has ceased to exist. Same with cognition. So you walk up day to day thinking that this is like fundamental to your existence, but when you die, the fire is just put out. The fire isn't dancing in heaven with fucking Jesus or whatever. It ceases to exist. And this is fascinating when it comes to sleep, because sleep is damn near the cousin of death. Because you delete the I, the you. Think about it. Where is the I? Who is the you? Right? Because there's no place in the brain where the I is located, where you are located. Right? It's just your brain. Right? That I deletes itself every time you go to sleep. If you have dreamless sleep, every time you have dreamless sleep, the I deletes itself, where you're in a state that you don't know how long time has gone by. You don't know how, you're not anywhere. You're nowhere, right? You damn near cease to exist until you wake up again at 8 a.m. and you have to go to work. Then that's when your body tells you that, oh shit, I only got 5 hours of sleep. I feel like shit. But when you're in that state, there is no knowing. There is no cognition. There's just, you just cease, right? And you come back every time. Emergent death, it would just be like that, where death isn't bad. It's just the end of the movie. It's the end of the experience. It's the end of the fire. And people fear this because they think they're going to be in an eternal void for all of eternity. But you want to go to sleep. Who the fuck doesn't want to go to sleep at night? You know what I'm saying? If you were really scared about that shit, you would not go to sleep every night. And I know human biology, you have to go to sleep. But this is something that tripped me out, because it's like you go to sleep and every time you delete yourself and then come back. But what if you just don't wake up? That deletion of yourself will just continue to go for all of eternity. And you think like that's scary because, oh, I'm going to be in a black void forever and ever. No, it's just nothing. It's like almost like saying, like, if you watch a 2-hour movie, that once the movie ends, that there's 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours that you can still roll back. No, it's literally the 2-hour movie is done. And there you roll the credits and that's it. There's nothing more to the movie. The actors aren't suspended in space thinking about what our next clip is going to be. The movie is done. Same with cognition. Once you die, done. Cognition ceases. That you go to sleep, the I deletes itself, and you cease to exist. Everything that made you, the cognition, like you are a thing, you are a living thing, you return back to being just a thing. And one thing is fascinating about this too is our language with death. As if we have a stronger understanding to it than we think. Like if somebody dies, like let's say a woman dies. God forbid, she's a young woman, whatever. She dies, right? They'll say, oh, we found her body there. Just like that's her car. This is her apartment. But where is her? Where did she go? Because that's her body. That's her car. That's her apartment. Where is she? You know what I'm saying? Where the fuck did she go? Did she cease to exist? And everything that's here now is just the remnants of her? Or did she go to a different place? That makes me think like the fundamentalism is a strong thing, where it's like our language almost speaks to it being fundamental. It's very fascinating. And when it comes to fundamentalism, once you die, a fundamental death is just you return back to the source of awareness, where I doubt it would be like a heaven. I doubt it would be a hell. I think if there is an afterlife, like fundamental awareness, it never ceases. It just returns back to the source. Whether that's you, fundamentalism awareness would be your brain is just a radio wave for awareness. And once you die, yeah, your body, the personality, your ego ceases to exist, but that I that we can't locate in the brain continues to go. Heaven to hell, that's might be a stronger cope, but what could actually happen is something where you are an infinite in time, but you could be reincarnated, or you just return back to the source. Where if something is fundamental and the awareness that created, because you have to think complexity, we are the most complex things in the universe. So whatever made us is more complex. Whatever made the universe is even more complex than us. It would be the ultimate form of awareness, the ultimate form of consciousness, of cognition. Now, I don't want you to think that whatever this cognizant being is going to know anything about you. The thing is about pure awareness, pure fundamental awareness, is that it literally has no questions. If it were to be able to speak English and you would ask, like, why is this the way that it is, it would probably say something like, because there was no other way. Like, you would get a very simplistic answer for it. This timeless being would likely not know anything that has to do with your life, which would explain why awareness or why life could be fucked up at times and why certain people die and shit like that. But it's a race of ego. You got to think, ego is why we have questions, because there is a roadblock into why we think them. But fundamental awareness is something where instead of asking questions, you are the answer. So there is no questions. There is no, I wonder what my family is doing, because you are the answer. Every living thing returns back to this source. Every living thing, if fundamentalism is true, then every living thing goes back to this source. Ants, dogs, plants, whatever, returns back to this awareness. We all have different forms of awareness. This is something where, because you always think it's cope to hear like ants go to heaven after they die, they meet Jesus, like that shit sounds fucking retarded. But returning back to a source where it seems like it was programmed seems a lot more probable. Where awareness or reincarnation might not even be the answer. It's just you return back to the source. And once you return back to the source, you are the source. You are the answer. You are more than the universe. That I is awareness. That is the pure awareness. And every living thing has a divine spark. And I'm not even talking about Gnosticism. So it's very, each take is very interesting. And what if we're not measuring awareness in the right form? Like, we think that we know everything as humans, but bro, 400 years ago, we were fucking hanging people on the stick for being a witch. Like, absolutely fucking stupid. To the point where in another 400 years, in another 100 years, with the AI revolution and everything, the AI singularity, you know how much shit we're gonna know in this century, the 21st century alone? You know how much shit we're gonna find out? That if we could be measuring the radio, the waves with the electricity in your brain and thinking that's it. But what if there's another tool to cognition that we can literally not measure? We literally have absolutely no fucking clue. It's almost like you have like a bunch of 10-year-old kids listening to a radio, and they think that because they smashed the radio and the radio doesn't work, that all radio stations has ceased to exist. That would be stupid. But you have to understand, humans think that they know everything. these scientists think that they know everything, which they know a lot, but compared to what we will know and compared to what we have learned, we don't know shit. We don't know shit. So it's something where fundamentalism is something that we could literally, I think it's 50-50. I think it's 50-50. And regardless of how death ends, I highly doubt there's going to be an ego attached to it, an I attached to it, where it's going to be like, I keep my body and I'm like, oh my God, I'm 37 Ghost. No, it's just you cease to exist or you return back to the source. That's my thing. I don't think there's anything else. But yeah, boys, I'm here to learn. I want to read the Bible, the Quran front and back, because I'm never going to sit here and say that people that believe in religion are stupid. They're not. Could it be cope? Absolutely, but I don't think they're stupid at all, and I respect the shit out of religion, and I want to go to different countries too. So I'm not going to be here and shit on people's beliefs. Because deep down, I would love to believe in religion. I really would, especially Christianity. But I just see the plot holes in it. I see how shit falls apart, and it just doesn't make sense to me. But I'm here to learn. I'm open-minded. Let me know in the comment sections what you guys think. I definitely just want to post more. So I'm really just yapping at my ass. So who knows? I'm just a fucking HVAC technician. So who the fuck knows? But other than that, what do you boys and girls think? And I will catch you guys in the next video. Later.